They did well. Hello, Republic of Doyle. I have to say,
Lady,
I love these chats. How are you, Kathy?
I'm pretty darn good.
So we are recapping. We are taking a slow move through this because we never want it to end. I'm hoping when we get to the end, Alan Hocko, if you hear us, Take the Shot Productions going to say, "Hey, folks, we're going to do the movie."
Alan,
Yes, right. Okay, so we are season 5, episode 10, and this was
brothers
something
in arms.
brothers. I was gonna say Up in Arms. It should have been Up in Arms, but Brothers in Arms. So cute, 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 cute. All right. Well, I do have some things to share, but I don't have to click it right away. I was telling Kathy because we were gabbing, that's why we're late. Hi, everyone. I was telling Kathy that for me, this episode, I had two things that stood out. I call it the great episode of one-liners because I love all their one-liners, but everybody seemed to have some great, hilarious one-liners. Even Leslie, when she only said a few words, like she's like, I'm not into flirting today.
No, she was it was more a little bit more expensive. I can't tell you how much I am not into flirting today. It was
Yeah,
like
that's it. And so there was all these one-liners and there was a lot of humor throughout the whole thing and then bang that last minute, it's like woo. So I love when they mix it up like that. And then I also what stood out for me is there's Jimmy's back and the
I
multitude
love me some Jimmy.
the multitude of times that he got hurt. Oh my God. And him and that ginger story. And I think they always sneak a redhead story. And we talked about this before. I always wonder if it's because Alan Hawker's wife is a redhead and is it like something like a joke for him?
Like an
Remember
in
how
joke.
pardon me?
Like an in joke.
Yeah, like an in joke. So I don't know. All right. We want to jump in? What do you want to start off with?
I don't know. I'm probably gonna, as usual, just as you know, as everyone knows, I'm not linear, so I'm just gonna jump around. One of my favorite scenes was, and you don't get to see these two characters together, Rose and Wolf, when she's pumping him for information and he's got a code for the way, she asks him a question, he drinks something. Okay, yes. So blah blah blah. Yes. And then he doesn't drink. She got no. At one point, he takes the sugar thing and pours it in. She goes, oh, okay, I don't know what that means. He goes, it means I needed. It means my coffee needed sugar, and that just cracked me up for some reason.
I know. They're funny. I love how it opens because it opens with the father calling Jake and he's mad at him. He's like, and this is when we know they're having a little bit of financial difficulty. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, this is not a hobby. This is a business we're trying to run here. And he's like, well, it's kind of sort of, I think, on a date. And he goes, no, before he says the date, he says something about he's
Leslie's only been away from her husband for a half hour, and you're already stalking the poor
at
girl.
10 he says you're jumping on Leslie already and she's only been separated from her husband for 10 seconds.
And I loved it actually that Jake was going on a date, that he was not
Yes.
jumping on Leslie. Okay,
Yes.
you're free now, but hey,
Yep.
you
And
work for a little bit.
he was trying to he's like kind of I think it is she's from the academy, that kind of thing. And
I
then
don't believe that for one skin minute. I mean, that actress, I mean, or maybe it was the character she was portraying. She did not strike me as someone who would have gone through the police academy. I just
well
can't picture it.
I don't think she did well. I think she got into the other stuff. Like he didn't do well. That's probably why they bonded. You know what I mean? There were two
He was
outcasts.
last in his class, but he still made it as a cop.
Oh no, he did, but I meant that's probably why those two were attracted to each other. And you know that they were, and they must have had something going on because there's a part in the end when she's being cuffed and she says to him,
I
but
a lot more passionate.
yeah. Oh, that's the kiss.
Somebody else is on your mind.
With the handcuffs, she says to him, from experience, I know how to get out of these.
Yep.
He just looks at her. So they had something, of course, going on. But the part in the beginning that cracks me up is the father said, he puts him on speakerphone and he's like, "Do you have me on speakerphone?" Because the daughter walks in, right, Sloan, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I wanted to, have a good laugh. Like her poppy wanted to let her have a good laugh, kind of thing." And I thought, oh, there they are embracing this girl like it's his,
Hmm.
definite family because they wanted it, and we talked about that before. So
I have to apologize to the actress who played what was her name?
Sloan,
No, the his
oh,
old girlfriend, his academy mate.
I
I
forgot.
can't remember her name, but she
Someone here remind us. Go
I
ahead.
knew her because she played a wonderful FBI agent in a Lifetime movie, so she can pull off law enforcement officer.
Yes.
I think it was just with the outfits and the hair and all that. She wasn't.
And I think
Yeah,
that was Sydney. Thank you, Bonnie. Sydney. And I think that was on purpose because remember, she told him to dress up and she was in that outfit because she wanted to look like they were on a date, not what she
right.
was really doing. The plumber. What kind of a name is
Mr. Plummer.
Mr. Plumber?
I think that's another inside joke. We just is too
Yeah,
inside for us
I
to guess.
know. I know. So when she comes running, he's sitting there waiting at the car and he's like, why you running? Wait a minute. Am I seeing stuff? Jimmy, is that you? And then at the same time, Jake's distracted because she's getting in the car to drive the car. And he's like, my car, you know how he says car. What do you mean driving my car? So he gets all crazed and he's like, no, 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 no. I love when they do the switch and she loves it. It's kind of fun when they're driving and I've done that before. Did you ever, two people be in the front seat in the car? Okay.
Yeah, that was that and what do they call it? The Chinese something where we
Oh,
each
yes,
we
yes,
get out of the car and move
yes.
around and switch places. Yeah, but I was in my teens. I think the last time I did that.
Well, when I did that, I was in my teens too, and we were not on a road. We were because of the farm. We were driving on farmland, and we had to switch and move. And while I don't know, that's just dangerous and
Yes, it
dumb.
is.
So dumb, but fun. It was absolutely fun. The two of them, I don't know if they had all that much chemistry, but they were fun together. Like I
Mhm.
love them sharing a screen together. And of course, the whole family has to get involved, which I like. But again, what about Jimmy and all of it? He gets run over or hit by a car door. He has almond milk in his drink, and that's when Jake runs around with the EpiPen and won't
I
give it
thought
'cause
that was kind of a mean spirited moment.
that was cruel.
I know.
And so when he finally gets it and he gets stabbed in the butt, what's he say? He was sexually assaulted.
Sexually assaulted.
The family that's sitting in the coffee shop, they're all like watching it happen. But I was saying to you before, the next time we see Jimmy, especially it's really noted when they get locked in the vault, he's got all these EpiPens in his pocket. The next time. So okay, so he had the allergic reaction. He winds up jumping out the window, getting tangled up, and he says, "All the weight is on my face." I have to show you now, mind you, I had a day. So I was just running and I just took some quick pictures. So this is what I love with that these two are back. And you know how they always have those characters that come back. And it's going to be an escapade. This one, of course, is like just super funny and silly. And this is something that comes in between all of that. And I forgot to mention this. They show this early on, which I think is funny. Martha, she really does have a band-aid on her thumb. This happens early on when they flash over to Tinny and Des, and we don't get resolution to the end of the story with it, which I like is because I love this show because they have story arcs that go through the whole season, but they also have episodes that are self-contained. I love that about it. Do you like that?
Hmm. It's a nice combination of the two.
You're giving your teen secrets away. Oh, Jan's saying I'm giving my teen secrets away. That's funny about switching my places. I'm sorry. What did you say, Kathy?
It was a nice combination.
Yes.
Usually
So
a show is one or the other, but it's
yeah.
a nice combination. Yeah.
It's a very good combo. So what happened here was at the end we saw not a cliffhanger, but they like to get you at the end, of every episode. And in that last episode that we had, which was a really good one and a serious one. We saw that what was his name? Kissed Tinny. What's his name?
Grayson.
Grayson kissed Tinny. And it's not that she really kissed him back, but she did not kiss him. And he knows that they're together, and he's such a jerk. I love Tinny and Des interaction. I'm putting that up there. So do I. So we got Des painting the apartment blue. Well, not yet, but later on he does. But he wants to paint it the color she likes. You could tell that there's something wrong, and she's distant from him. And there's that little squeezing of the hands, and he knows it. And he gets so afraid, but they talk about it later on. Now, you were saying that you didn't care for his flirting that he was doing?
I just thought it was a little disingenuous, his scenes at the beginning with Sydney. Like he's falling for her charms, and it didn't ring true to me because he's wised up quite a bit since he's been working with him. This is the 5th season, and he's totally in love with Tinny. So I don't think he would have been so smitten, acting like he was so smitten.
Right. That and I have to agree with you there. Now, this is the scene that cracks me up, and they must have had a great time filming it, because this is when that guy runs through the place that is the real villain of the storyline. And when he throws himself out that window, it's such a body double.
I know. I'm wondering who this body double is, because he's really good at looking like Jimmy.
I know. So we got this happening. Now, this cracked me up because they're all got their heads stuck out at the top. And then she's running by, and the father's like, she looks familiar. She looks familiar. And she's like, and he goes, oh, there's your date, some date. And she takes off her shoes and she runs away. So he's constantly needling Jake. And he needed to leave Jake alone because Jake was, trying to move on and get himself together and nurse his broken heart.
Well, this was a great episode. I'm always saying that I'm really glad I watched this in retrospect after the series was over. I love that, because it would have driven me crazy watching it from week to week.
Yes.
This is an episode that I would have loved to watch in real time. I would have been okay with it, because at the end, it gave you, the last episode is when Jake and Leslie got rid of Callum. But she and Jake haven't been together for a while, and folks are like, are they going to get together again? What's the story? And what?
I am not, Kathy, I am sorry. I don't know why this struck me funny, but Jan said those curtains and the rod, they are really strong. What if it broke? Okay, I'm sorry. So go ahead. I am so sorry. Keep going, Kathy.
No, I'm just saying that, after they've been apart for several episodes,
yes,
this is the first time you see, oh, okay, it's still there, because she looked rather perturbed that he was kissing on Sydney, or Sydney was kissing on him. And
yes,
it was obvious this was not the first time. So I kind of enjoyed that.
I have a picture of that. So before I get there, when Jimmy and Wolf go back to the office and talk with Jake's family, and of course Jimmy's mad, and he says stuff like, Jake and his leather, what does he call it? Leather jacket wearing back, like he wants to know where he is, and then he says, "Stupid Jake face." Just says such dumb crap.
He's so childish.
I know, but it's funny to me, like just so funny with their one-liners.
Everything about Jimmy, I just found I just so look forward to, and I think he appeared in. I don't think he was in the first season, was he? Did he appear in every season?
Season 1? Does he come in season 1, or is it 2?
I can't remember. I think it might be 2.
Okay.
But I love Wolf too, because Wolf is like his straight man. And he's always thinking he's putting one over on Wolf, and he's running the show, and Wolf is always running to the rescue, saving his bacon, or stealing and drinking his beer at the game.
Yes, and he's so and has a monitor.
Until it became public knowledge, his first name is really Elvis.
I know. And now they say it. And now I know it's funny. Jan is saying you have to wonder how many times things went awry with that scene. I know. I'm thinking that. And Chris is saying, nice to see you,
Oh,
Kathy.
you too.
Everybody, that's why I say to all you. People send me emails. Oh, I had such a nice time. Where's Kathy? Oh, okay. Thank you.
It's nice to be seen. Thank you.
Chrissy's like Chris. And then afterwards she says, and you too, Roxanne. Sorry. Hi, Tracy. I just love the Republic of Doyle so much. I was sad to see it end. We know, Tracy.
But
We
Tracy,
know.
when it comes to an end, you know what I do? I go back to season 1, episode 1, and I start all over again.
Yes. There's no end. I'm not listening to that. La 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 la.
It's like the song, pick yourself up, dust yourself off,
Yeah.
start all over again.
So there was also a cute line where Jake is saying to Sydney, he says to her, I wrote it down because I wanted to get it as correct as I could, but something like it's time we have it's time we have a you tell me the truth and I'll decide if I believe you conversation. And he's saying it as she's getting into the car. So she's trying to, share as much as she can. And of course, he wants to protect her. And of course, they all wind up getting kidnapped because that always happens. I know.
I think one of the subtleties of this show that Alan is so good at is just the very presence of Sydney in their conversation and the allusions that Jake made to their backstory is just further reinforcement of how much Jake has grown and matured as a man since
Yes.
those days.
Yes.
So
It's nice to
I
see.
think they like to reinforce that even subtly with us that he was a manhole, but he's
Yeah.
really changed and
Yeah.
as she kissed him. That was very clear. He was not kissing her back. There was
And
no
his hands,
Yep,
and
yep.
I have a shot of it. He even kept his hands to his side, and she's like, "Oh, I remember there being a little bit more passion there, And she goes, "Someone else on your mind." And the whole time,
shaking it
Leslie's
out.
watching.
I'm sorry. Let me just.
No, it's okay.
It's not just that he's not responding. He is proactively. There's going to be none of that.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even with Leslie at this
Nope.
time. He's on his own, so he's making these decisions as Jake, not as Jake who goes with Leslie. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which I love.
And I love that because it's good writing. And I also like when the father's like, "Oh, I recognize her now. And if I'm not mistaken, when you two are together, fireworks go off. Literally, like this is a bad idea." And he's like, "How many times?"
All of them would go off. We thought it was just the one.
I know. Jan said this is one of those shows that you can watch over and over and not get tired of it. There's another show that I can watch over and over and never get tired of it. And that is, it was a Canadian show and it's Schitt's Creek. Did you ever see that, Kathy? Schitt's Creek? Oh listen to me. You will die. You must watch it. I recommend it to everyone. My father one day, a couple years ago, said he was bored out of his brain. And I said, Dad, you have to watch Schitt's Creek. It's what you love. And he goes, oh my God. He watches it and then he would go back and watch it and watch it. And he does the same thing with this show too. So
my version of that is, I don't know if any of you guys watch it, The Mentalist.
Oh, you love that.
So many times. I absolutely love that show. Do you see a trend here? I like the series that ended with the way I want them to end. The people I wanted to end up with ended up together. So that's all we need as a formula for success.
You're invested in it.
Yeah, who needs to be together and end it gracefully. So if anyone's looking for a new show to plug in to watch over the summer, The Mentalist is wonderful. And I will check out Schitt's Creek.
Jan saying she used to watch it. So how about now when Jake still did not turn in Sydney? Now all the guys and everybody are back at the office and he calls up Jake and he says, return her. And he's like, or what? Or I'll shoot your dad.
Go ahead, shoot him.
He's like, yeah, shoot him. So then when he's done and they hang up, Wolf's like, you'll shoot his dad. You'll shoot, you know what I mean? Like the two of them together because one is so crazed and hyper and the other one's like so the other way stoic, very it's great. It's like
Yep.
Great pairing. Who thought up those characters? I love. I would like to know. Again, we need the right people to talk to us about that writer's room and just tell us how they came up with all this wonderful, wonderful stuff, you
And it
know?
tickles me that Alan Doyle, who is Wolf, is a musician. You know, he's not even an actor. I mean, he's an actor, but his roots are he's a musician. In fact, is he part of the band that does the opening song?
That is his band.
Yeah, that is the
Yes.
band. He's. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I think that is so cool.
Now, Chris has been watching over and over again season 1 and 2 of The Way Home. She just
Ah,
loves it. She's just, and that's a show where you go back and when you watch it in retrospect, like afterwards, you're like, oh my God, that's right. Oh my God, that's right. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Now I get, like, there are a lot of Easter eggs. Talk about another very well written show. Very
mhm,
well.
mhm.
So Jake and in their travels, and they find out that there's this kill list that they're gonna. Well, when they start announcing, one of the agents got left behind. One of the federal agents, and when they tried to shut down one of their coups, and he's very upset by it. So he's trying to get his revenge, and which we all know because we've seen this. And so he's going to be releasing names, and it's sort of like a people will go out and want to attack who these agents are and kill them. So anyway, they wind up stuck in a vault. And he says, Jimmy's like, we got to conserve our air. And then he's holding his breath. And then he starts talking about nonsense. And he goes, so how's Leslie? And he's like, well, she's married to her dead husband, who really is not dead. But he says it in this big long thing. And Jimmy's like, really? So he says, and plus I have a daughter. And he says, how many months old? And he said, years, 16
He was
years.
16 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's thinking about all that. So he's like, oh, so she's kind of free. And so I love when they finally get out of the vault, they make their way over into it. Took 3/4 of that episode. There was approximately, I don't know, there was a little over 10 minutes, I think, left of the show when Leslie finally makes her appearance. They held off for a while. And I'm just looking at what they were saying to each other. We'll share in a minute. And then when they get there and they get into that interrogation room, well, of course, they can't get anything out of Sydney. And Jake's like, well, he doesn't want to say, let me just talk to her, right? So that's when Jimmy tries to hit on Leslie. How about when he even suggested it to Jake, and Jake's like, what did he say to him? I'll rip your tongue out.
You say anything to her and I will cut your tongue out.
That's it. That's it. That's it. I know. I know. So remember, you already said what she said. Like, she's like, yeah, I am just not into flirting. So he's still trying. So he leaves. So Leslie is watching and
It
listening.
bothered her when he said, can I go in and talk to her?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine, but you know, she was not happy with that scenario. And then she was listening, and he was feeling totally uncomfortable knowing she was out there listening because she asked him, Sydney asked him something about dating or
Yeah. About
something
them
personal,
dating.
and he's
Yeah.
like, no, let's change the subject, shall we?
She's like, I wish we need to have a proper date. And that's when he looked over, and then they finished, he got out of her what he needed to get out of her. Which, I mean, and again, she was a good person, and she said, she's going to own up. And that's where the whole cuffing thing and whatnot came about. Let's see. Oh, Christine is obsessed with The Way Home. Janice saying the nice thing about these different shows is that each time you watch it, you can pick up another tidbit. And Mary is here, and she's agreeing. And it's true. I mean, how many times have we watched these things? We watch them again just to be able to be prepared for in our discussions. So here he is. I don't know if you could see it because there was a shadow when I didn't care. I could have gone back and redid and clean them up, the photos, but I just didn't have time. Those EpiPens that are still there, which I thought was hilarious because that's what stuck him in the butt and he wanted to be prepared. But then again, they go and they use it, and Jake stabs the guy in the hand, and the hand kind of goes numb. And that is keeps him from getting shot. But he also injures his hand. He sees it's his nose. He has an allergic reaction, gets hit in the butt. It's his leg. It's his hand. I mean, he had like 7 different
Do you remember
injuries.
I think it's a previous episode or maybe a future one, they talk about the fact that he got frostbite and burned in the same episode,
Yep.
same
Remember?
day. Yeah.
This is the episode where he looks over when she says, like, have a proper date.
Mm-hmm.
And then, or scene rather, but this is when she kisses him. His hands are out to his side, right? And she is watching the whole time. Yeah. And
can you show something on your computer? Can you if you like in a different tab? Look, I just sent you a link with a photo of Alan Doyle. I had never seen him without a beard.
You want me to do it now?
No, whenever you you want.
Why?
I thought everybody would be interested in seeing what he looks like.
Oh, I could do it now. How about you talk about the ending when he goes up to get the person?
That was one of the better endings I've ever seen. And I was totally impressed that Mal did his own stunt work. I read up on this. I think I don't know it's in the book, but I know I read that he did his own stunt work.
There was a lot of blood.
Yeah, there was a lot of blood. And this would have been a heck of a note to end on until the next episode. And I don't know if this was on the season break. Was season 5 part of it in one time a year, and they waited a while before they did the second part? I don't know how long people had to wait to find out if Mal was okay or not. But the next episode was really, really intense, and I really enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to talking about that one.
I know, and that becomes a very serious one. And I love how they mix it up. There's like the ups and the downs. I was going to add your link to the slide, and it's acting goofy. I put it in here.
I can't do it because
I added it into the chat. So if anybody wants to copy it and paste it and look at it, they can. See, I posted it up there. I added it to the chat.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody wants to do that.
That's what Alan looks like when he's clean shaven, and I think he's a cutie.
He's a cutie patootie. I wanted to share it, but for some reason, it was acting goofy. I don't know why. You know what? Why? Something is going on with my Chrome. That's why sometimes there's that clear thing that happens, and I can't see stuff. Remember, if I tag it with a star, and you can, but I can't. So they say it's something that has to do with my update of my Chrome. But anyway, that's technology for you. So the ending is cute. Because he says to Tinny, don't rip out my heart, when she tells him when they are at the end, he's all excited. He's painted the house, his place blue.
Says it though. That was so puppy doggy.
I know. Like, please don't rip my heart out kind of thing. I wouldn't like it very much, and they're okay though. It's just that she's got afraid. She goes, I'm nervous. And he said, we're all nervous. It's all going to be okay. He goes, I get nervous too, thinking at night when Jake finds out and he's going to be hovering over my bed, and I'll open my eyes and I'll see him.
I think the next episode is when that happens.
And then they wind up living together. Remember, they have to wind up living together.
Yep.
Oh gosh, this show.
Also, it takes them another step closer. A lot of good stuff in the next episode. They solve a mystery. Mal became curmudgeonly times 10. Wasn't Christian in this one? Or was he? Maybe I'm thinking of the heart attack.
No, he is, because is this when he thinks he owes Big Ronnie money? I forget. You might be thinking the heart attack one.
Yeah.
Where he does.
Mal was outstanding in this one. And everybody worried about him. Sloan a little, we'll wait for a couple weeks to talk about it. Sorry.
So, I don't know. What do you think, peeps? What's your favorite part? I always like to know what the people think. What was their favorite of this? I think if I looked at the whole episode, it was all those one-liners. I didn't even get to say all of them. There were just so many of them, and they were all so good. Like, almost everyone had a great one-liner. I mean, even
I love the interaction between Jimmy and Jake and Wolf. I just
Yeah,
that's so good.
I know. I
And
I
Rose, the voice of reason, always. Rose trusts nobody.
I know. So why did she trust Sloan? We keep saying that, right?
She doesn't trust Sloan.
I
She never
know.
trusted Sloan.
I know. I know. I know. All right, friends. Well, this is it for this episode, and we're moving on. We're going to move on, not next Thursday because we do it every other Thursday. And let's see. Oh, Jimmy is always hilarious, is what Chris is saying.
Yep.
Jan is saying, as usual with me, I love the star and his actions. I was asking what was everyone's favorite.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And Chris.
Wolf reacting to everyone knowing his name.
I know, Elvis. And when I first heard it yet today, when I was replaying it, I was like, Elvis. And then I forgot he's Elvis. I know.
Elvis and Nigel, but the combination, like, who would put those two names together?
I know. All right. So next week we won't see you, but the following week we will.
Did you get that, Alan? You know, we're doing this every other week now. So you can join us 2 weeks from tonight. I know you're there.
Yes,
I know you're there, and I hope you're taking notes, and you're going to incorporate all of our comments into the reunion movie, or if heaven allows, the miniseries.
Yes. Oh, I would love that.
In case you haven't heard, Linda Boyd answered a question during an interview. Celeste asked, I believe it was Celeste who asked her, would you be willing to do come back and do a a Republic of Doyle update movie or show? And she's like, in a heartbeat.
A reboot.
Reboot. Yeah, she said, in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat, Alan.
And those two are together in Sullivan's Crossings, and it's back on. Season 2 is back on. So I hope people are catching up on that. And if I cannot say this enough, Son of a Critch, and it's winning all kinds of awards. Son of a Critch is just such a joy to watch. You will laugh out loud and then you will cry. It's so heartwarming. It is. It's such a heartwarming show. It's not a really big cast either. And it's just, it's the best.
Is it better than Young Sheldon?
It's good like Young Sheldon, because Young Sheldon's good, but Young Sheldon's done. They ended. But it's good like that. It's really, really good. Really good. All right, friends, we are going for good night. Blah, blah, I can't even talk this time. Good night.
Going up on season 5, episode 11, in preparation for our discussion. And that's a really good one. Mal gets shot, and there's all kinds of drama. Not so much of the lighthearted, but there's a lot of good drama in the film.
Yes, because this one was lighthearted. Now we got that. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.